What is up, Packer fans? Back again. Here we go. Week 2, probably without J Love 10 at the helm at quarterback for the Packers. Coming off a sprained MCL, sprained knee last week against the Eagles in Brazil. Looks like Love might be out 3 to 6 weeks. They haven't technically ruled him out for the game, but the Packers do have Malik Willis. They did get him from the Titans. He looked pretty good in preseason. He's an agile, mobile quarterback that can throw the ball. He was a higher draft pick, and we got him for a 7th-round pick, I believe. So for the Packers, let's see what Malik can do. If they're starting him, that means that he showed enough of understanding the playbook. LaFleur wouldn't put him out there if he didn't know the terminology and didn't know the playbook. So for the Packers to be able to put Malik out there, an athletic quarterback, a little more athletic than J Love, but not as good of a thrower, doesn't know the system as well as J Love. So there's going to be some growing pains there, maybe a few mistakes, but a little more agile, a little more mobile, a little bit more ability to scramble around and make some plays with his feet. So that'll be something interesting to watch. Hopefully the offensive line can kind of keep up what they've been doing. Jenkins and Tom and Walker kind of struggled a little bit. You saw that Sean Ryan and the rookie Jordan Morgan kind of rotated at that guard position, and Josh Myers in the middle played well enough. So offensive line got to keep doing what they're doing. It was interesting to see that Tucker Kraft played more than Musgraves. We'll see if that kind of keeps going as the trend. The receivers all played okay. A lot of them had drops, but some of them made some good plays. Jaden Reed, actually the leading receiver in the NFL, 138 yards in week 1. We'll see if he can keep that going. He did also have a 33-yard touchdown rush, I believe. So we'll see if he can keep that going with Malik Willis at the helm. Otherwise, Dobbs and those other guys are going to have to step up. Wicks had a few drops, no catches, no yards in week 1. Watson, he played decent, but still could have some more grabs as well. And then Dobbs, he dropped a few, which is rare to see also. And for Green Bay, it's going to come down to being at home at Lambeau, getting the fans behind them, running the football with Josh Jacobs, running the football with Emmanuel Wilson. Those two guys, towards the end of the game, started really putting some yards together. Wilson looked really good as a relief running back for Jacobs, and Jacobs took some time to get going. So if we can get the ball running a little bit better at first, I think we could be in a good spot moving forward with this game against the Colts. The Colts coming off a tough loss against the Texans. Texans look good again this year. They added some pieces, Mixon and Diggs, and they look really good now. So for the Packers, it's going to kind of feed off of what they did last week, scoring some points, maybe play a little bit better defense. You can't give up 34 points a week and expect to win the game. So for the Packers, they're going to have to figure out a way to score points with Malik Willis, hopefully run the ball a little bit, and stop the Colts. Anthony Richardson, he put the ball in the bucket for Alec Pierce. What a throw that was, 60-yard bomb. They have Jonathan Taylor, still an elite back in this league. And then, Michael Pittman. They have Mo Alley Cox, the tight end, he's huge. And then, like I said, Alec Pierce at receiver. They have still a really strong offensive line and a pretty stout defense. The Colts are going to come in and expect to try to win against this Packer team, especially with Jordan Love not playing. For the Packers, it's going to come down to, can their defense kind of set the tone early, really kind of get after Richardson, make him scramble around, get him off balance on some of his throws, and hopefully force some turnovers. The Packers won the turnover battle against the Eagles. 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and they still really couldn't score points or really do much with it. Hopefully they can kind of keep this turnover momentum alive. With Joe Barry, we had no turnovers really, no interceptions. We got 2 in the game week 1. So I don't know how many we had total last year, but it wasn't that much more than 2. So for the Packers to start out with 2 is a huge way to kind of get this going this year for the defense. I want to see some more pressure up front. I know Gary did get a sack, but I want to see more out of Kenny Clark and Preston Smith. We need to hear his name being called, and maybe Wyatt and some of the guys in the middle kind of wreaking some havoc. I know that the Colts kind of strong point is their offensive line. They do have some good players on the line, and so for the Packers to kind of create some disruption up front is going to be a big deal here. And for Green Bay, they're just going to have to kind of keep the momentum going that they had with the defense, kind of forcing turnovers and kind of keeping it kind of rough for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. Obviously, they were able to score some points, and because the offense kind of sputtered, the Eagles were able to stay in it, and at the end, A.J. Brown started getting away. They started running the football. Saquon had 3 touchdowns. So for the Packers, it was really a tough game, not being able to kind of capitalize on some of their advantages, and then letting the Eagles kind of really take advantage of some of their spots when they had the chance. So for the Packers against the Colts, it's going to come down to what can we do right. I hope that Green Bay can get a little bit of a passing game going with Malik Willis in that last preseason game, which is why the Packers, I think, went out and got him and expended Sean Clifford and I think it was Matthew Pratt, or Michael Pratt, either way. So they were able to get rid of those guys because they thought Willis was so good. We'll see what it kind of translates to on the field. Again, I like his mobility. He does have a cannon for an arm. He is kind of raw, but we'll see what he can do. I think with the Packers' weapons, kind of stepping up, if all the receivers can make some plays for him, they could really look good. If they can run the football, that'll look good. And then on the defensive side of the ball, force a turnover to really get after Anthony Richardson, try to make them throw the football. You can't let Jonathan Taylor run all over you for 100, 150 yards and kind of take over the game. You really need to stop Taylor and get after Richardson and kind of make it a game where you can really get after them. And at home with the fans and being the first game at Lambeau, I understand that playing in Brazil against the Eagles week 1, kind of a young team, of course, the youngest team in the league again, and going 10 hours away for a game and kind of having all this stuff happen, the field being kind of weird, and just obviously we can throw excuses out there. Both teams had to deal with the same situation, but the Eagles are more of a veteran team. They've been through some more of these ups and downs. And so for the Packers to come out with a loss was something I almost kind of predicted and expected, was for them to kind of go down there and lose, even though I always think they can win, and they did have a chance to win at the end. They were down 34-29, and Love just got hurt. They might have had a chance for a Hail Mary if Love was in there. Maybe he had some Rodgers magic in his pocket, but for the most part, it's going to come down to, we'll see if Love can play. It sounds like he's not going to play, but they haven't ruled him out yet, which is the craziest part. They did not put him on IR, which is great, and which means that, these young bodies, these young athletic guys that play football, they heal so much faster nowadays. They, the recovery time is so much shorter. It's crazy how, I watched Giannis hyperextend his knee to the point where he was like this, and he played, so to win the championship later on. That was a few years ago, but some of what these guys do is remarkable as it relates to healing and some of their bouncing back from these injuries. So I hope Love can be back. We wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully he can be back next week or the week following. And for the Packers, it comes down to run the football. Josh Jacobs, let's get going here early and often. Get the tight ends involved, run a lot of play action, kind of get the run game going, and make it easy for Malik Willis to kind of be the general of this game, game manager, and not kind of let this game slip out of hand early, and stay with it and get this defense going. I do like what I saw from the defense as far as guys flying around and kind of making plays. Too many missed tackles, and we cannot have that as it gets later in the season. We have to break down and tackle. That's the first thing we learned in football was how to tackle, break it down. A guy can't go anywhere without his hips. So watch the hips, make the tackle. Easy peasy. So, hopefully Green Bay can figure this out, kind of build on what they did. Last year, week 1, they scored some points against the Bears, and then they kind of flopped for the next few weeks. Now with Love being out, hopefully that doesn't kind of reoccur this year. We scored some points week 1. We did lose. We did win last year against the Bears, but this week we lost. Now we got the Colts. Let's see what we can do. Go Pack, go. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out, and go Packers.